Hi there, welcome to Nonsense Whisky. My name's PF, and on today's episode, we've got something that's been voted for by my patrons. If you want to be part of that, you can go and check out my Patreon. There's a link in the description below. We'll say no more. What I've been doing is getting my guys to choose what I'm going to be reviewing over the next couple of weeks and months while we're all on lockdown. I think it'd be a good bit of kind of audience participation, that sort of thing. And today, they've chosen the Longmorn Distiller's Choice out of a group of 4. I won't go through what the 4 were, but that's what we've got. Ultimately, I'm going to be reviewing them all at some point, so kind of arbitrary, but we're doing this one first. This, you might be forgiven for not knowing about it. If you're a big fan of whiskey, you'll clearly know about Longmorn, but if you're new to it, then this is a bit of a sleeper distillery because they generally don't put out much of their own stuff. This was only released in 2015. They've got a core range which includes the Distiller's Choice, the 16 and the 23. Good luck getting hold of the 16. It's pretty much sold out everywhere as far as I can see right now. And the 23-year-old is like £400. Utterly ridiculous, but I'm sure it's great. Haven't tried it. Probably will never try it. One of those things. I picked this up in an airport and I got this for £40, which by looking around on the internet today, that seems to be a bit of a bargain. This sells for about £50, which... Going by the stuff on the label, we've got a no age statement whiskey at 40%. It's a pretty big ask, I think, just based on that entirely. And I do have to say, I don't usually talk about this sort of thing, but I really do like the presentation of the bottle on these. It sounds really stupid, but all this extra stuff, this little silvery bit here and this kind of faux leather, I don't think it's real leather, this kind of plasticky thing, all looks lovely. A bit of a shame because it's all going to be pulled off when I come to recycle this anyway, but as a bottle of whiskey, it does look lovely, and the brand parity across the core range looks lovely as well. As I said, this came out in 2015. It's a mixture of 3 different oak types, so they say. They've led with the best to the worst, but probably the least proportion to the largest proportion, and that's a first fill American oak. For those who don't understand the terminology of that, you have virgin oak, which is what you typically get in your bourbons, and has never seen whiskey before. You do get virgin oak stuff coming over into newer distilleries now, but typically Scotch tends to use ex-bourbon and ex-sherry in different mixtures. That's by no means a hard and fast rule, it's just a very generic thing that I'm talking about there. So you have first fill, which is it's had bourbon in it already, and then it's now had the Longmorn spirit in it for the first time. Then you've got some ex-sherry casks. We don't know about what kind of fill level that is. And then they've put some traditional American oak casks, and that probably means that it's second, third, fourth fill, that sort of thing. Probably the largest proportion of this, I think, because it's an entry-level whiskey, no age statement, and relatively cheap in comparison to the rest of their range. Now, you can get hold of Longmorns in different ways. It's mostly independent bottlers. They come and go, so if you see them, you might want to try them. A lot of them are excellent. I haven't tried a bad one, really, but I haven't tried any of the underaged ones. I've been lucky to be gifted a few of these over the years in terms of samples sent by friends, and I think like Roy, especially Aquavite, who's got the glass today. He's a big fan of Longmorn, and I actually think he didn't like this so much, but we'll see about that when we get into the actual whiskey itself. Let's have a look at the glass and see what we've got. Now, it's a 40%er, so we have to assume a couple of things that isn't on the label at all. We have to assume chill filtration. We have to assume added colour. It might not have added colour. I don't know for sure. I did do some research, but I can't find anything specific, so I'm going to go with it and just ignore the colour entirely, but it is a lovely colour. It's a shame. Let's get onto the nose. Now, I say this a lot, and it's worth repeating every time that it's important. And in this situation, when I first poured this dram, I poured this dram maybe half an hour ago, which is long for a no-age statement. It was pretty raspy on the nose, I have to say. Now, you can see how much I've drank of this. I've had this for quite a while now, to be fair. But, you can see the level is pretty alright on that. I haven't really touched it much. There hasn't been many reasons to go back to it. But it was important to leave it sat out on the side to mellow out a little, even at this level here. But once that's happened, I'm getting kind of touches of vanilla, dried fruits, some sherry notes in there as well. It's all very light and gentle. There's some kind of like appley, peary notes going on as well. It's just fine. You know, it's a pretty lovely nose, to be fair. It's not jumping out at me, but it's also, you know, it's not making me withdraw my nose at any point either. Let's try the palate. So for me, my first reaction to that is just how thin it is. It feels quite watery on the tongue. There's a few more of those kind of vanilla-y dried fruit flavours coming through, but they're really very light. It's extremely drying on the back end. Let's have one more sip. Yeah, and there's some good spiciness there as well. Kind of like white pepper, powdered white pepper. Not really a lot going on, I have to admit. The finish is kind of like short, medium short. Not particularly long, but then, you know, it's not like gone either. It's just a bit of a shame, I have to say. Now, in conclusion to the actual overall review itself, even at a knockdown price of £40, I still feel it's a little bit expensive. That's just my personal opinion. Now, when I was in the airport buying this, I ummed and ahed about getting... It was between this and the Laphroaig 4 Oak. This was on a deal at the time, and the Laphroaig 4 Oak was as well. It was a little bit more expensive than this. And I talked myself out of the 4 Oak because it's what I wanted to drink. It sounds silly to say, but I wanted to expand my horizons a little bit, and I usually use the airport for that. Sometimes I buy something that I've been after for a while if I spot a good deal. But I do have to say that the airport is becoming a very poor place to buy whiskey for people like me and probably the people that are watching this. It's a bit more of a gift buying market now. Every now and again you can get a good deal. Like, I think a great example is when I was in Edinburgh Airport a long time ago. Might have been Glasgow, in fact. I saw the Connemara peated for £20. Irish whiskey, buying it in Scotland, a bit strange, but you can't miss out on a deal like that. This, I thought I might be getting a good deal because I haven't tried many Longmorns before and it seemed like a good entry level, but I can't help being disappointed by it. It's absolutely fine, I have to say that over and over again. In terms of actual whiskey to drink, it's absolutely fine, but the amount of money that we're being asked to pay for it makes me add that into the equation. At £40, it's not so great. At 50, it's an absolute no-go for me. An absolute no-go. The 16-year-old, I think, is a little bit more than that. Maybe, I want to say £65, which seems like a lot of money for that sort of price. But I think everyone tends to agree that that's a much superior whiskey. Personally, I haven't tried that. You'll have to go and check out some other YouTubers to see what they think about that one. But, yeah, overall opinion of this is a bit disappointed.